Hi, welcome back to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your co-pilot into the world of Chinese. So this week we have been talking about the slang words in Chinese contemporary use. Yesterday we talked about the translated concept of English respect into Chinese 瑞思拜. Okay, I detect it as a Cantonese version of translation because they tend to just discard the consonants at the end of the words without any more vowels behind it. So in the case of respect, the kt was discarded, and then 瑞思拜 was maintained. But because Chinese have to be pronounced in each syllable a vowel, we cannot have consonant by itself. So the respect, the sound has to be added to a vowel, which the closest vowel that's kind of a lighter tone is s. It's not sa, sa. It's not any other kind. So it's s. Okay, so it has to be 瑞思拜 becomes 3 syllables. Okay, so that's what we had yesterday, and today we are going to talk the hottest new word of 2021. Probably this is the most prominent new creation of Chinese expression in the last year. Tang Ping. Tang Ping, probably you have heard about that in the English-speaking media. That's translated as lying flat. And that's exactly the good translation of the two characters. Tang itself is already a body in a flat, in a horizontal position. So Tang actually in itself is already lying flat. But sometimes, Chinese, they tend to create at least like 2 characters used together to make sure you get the message, because a lot of times Chinese words are multifunctional or multi-meaning. So the 2 come together for sure. They're pointing to one direction. Otherwise, it's multi-directional, right? So Tang, okay, Tang by itself is a classical Chinese character formation, which is the left side, the meaning maker, which a little bit smaller than the sound maker on the right side. That's an easy explanation. So what I go one step further to show the original form of the left and right side. Left side by itself, it's called a shen. So left side itself is a word. Shen means the body, and particularly human body, because we have this human indicator, the stick figure, sideways, a slanted stick figure on the top means a human, and the bottom just look like a body. We have the rib cage, and we have legs. Probably this is one side of the arm, but in any case, it's a visual representation of a human body. And the right one, by itself, it's pronounced as a shang. We use like a gao shang, shang qie, all kinds of combinations with other characters create the meaning. But by itself, you can see the original component of this word got this structure. It's almost like a stove, right? Almost like a stove with a chimney pointing outward and something the cooking in the middle. Let's imagine that. But it has this middle word that's pronounced as a xiang. So xiang, iteratively is shang's sound maker. It sounds like xiang, okay? And xiang is pointing direction, directional pointing. So that's exactly like a visual way, right, to show an object pointing towards an direction. Here in this visual representation, is pointing upward. I mean, it's only pointing outward possible, right? Sideways or downward, it doesn't make sense. And then the top is means separated. So we have this stick figure by itself as a human figure, right? It's a person. And then we have separate figure, which is number 8. And a lot of times this number 8 are used in the symbols to mean it's not one unit, it's separate 2 units. So shang we use as a language operator, logic operator, to mean, okay, you have the one portion or one part of your logic that you already pointed out. So let's talk about the other side. So it's almost like on the one hand, on the other hand. Okay, so that's shang. Together they are tang. And ping, I love this word. Even if it looks, it looks kind of modest in comparison to, more complicated, more majestic characters. But when you look at the original form, it's really something, because it got curves, almost like a sine wave of the air, right? Which is a kind of a rare thing in Chinese, even in original expressions, because a lot of times we do have curves, but we don't have this kind of pointing downward and upward or left and right, kind of this. Well, we have in a sign of water, we do have this depiction of streams, kind of fluid dynamic. But over here, ping, its original meaning came from the pronunciation or the projection of your speaking. The way you speak is when, okay, this main curve sign is a symbol of your breathing, your breath. So you have your breath going out, and in your mouth, you're going to create kind of hurdles, right? To create, to control the channel, the width of the channel, so that you can create the different sounds, right? So this channel passing will have different objects. Like the mouth for sure is one kind of control or gate of the air going out, right? And then your tongue, also the position of tongue, are going to create this, the opening or narrowing of this air channel. So it means the airflow from you, the breath from you, are going to go over any kind of obstacle. The air is going out no matter what, right? And then here, this simply means the air or the sound, actually, the sound you make are going to be diffused. It's not going to be like a sum is very strong or very directional or contained to one direction. It's diffused. So that in the old Chinese way is regarded as a good pronunciation, as a good way of speaking, so that your tones are even. You're not making like noises, not unpleasant to hear. So this is the way that you can make your expressions or your pronunciations more evenly spread out, right? You have no lumps, so to speak. So air flows are diffused, and you have your airs flow no matter what obstacles it has. So it's ancient pronunciation lesson, actually. I really, really appreciate that. And it makes a lot of sense to how to say, because words by itself, the meaning, we're talking about the language here, is important, right? Words has power, has almost like magic, what you talking about, what you pass in the space, and also how you present it, the rendering of the words, how to make the sound, to make it pleasant to the ear, to whoever you're talking with. That's important too. So it's by itself an art. Just everybody do it, so we don't really think it's anything special. It is special. Tang Ping, in my translation, lying flat, simply an attitude of quit. Like I quit, I don't want to do it anymore. So the manifesto, I got this word, is only by lying down can humans become the measure of all things. Human as the measure of all things is a Greek ancient philosophy. Like humans, we are the measure of things, versus God, from God's perspective. That's kind of one enlightenment for humans, to position ourselves as the center of perception, to acknowledge that we are actually the center of perception, because it's seen from our own eyes, right? We cannot really have God's perspective. So this word using here is to justify that lying flat is really an honorable act, when in fact it is a sign of exhaustion, and sense of futility, like you cannot really do anything about the situation. So why not just lying flat? I hope in the new year that this trend, well, I'll keep watching like how it's going to develop, like both in the US and China, maybe also the pandemic, as the sense of fertility of things are going out of control. Like you cannot, your personal contribution to the development of the progression of your life is really minimal. Like there are forces bigger than you to weigh on you. So why not just lie flat, do anything anymore? We'll see what will happen. I hope 2022 is a better year for all of us. Thank you for your time. See you another day.